You ever tell someone something personal and instantly regret it? Yeah, we've all been there. There are certain parts of your life that should stay locked up like a vault. But most people leak these things without even realizing the damage it does. Today, we're breaking down 7 things you should never share with anybody. Not with friends, not with coworkers, not even with family. And number 6, almost everyone slips up on that one. Let's get into it. The first thing is your long-term plans. Most people love to talk about what they're going to do. They announce every dream, every new idea, every big goal, long before they've built anything. And on the surface, it feels good. It feels motivating. It feels like momentum. But here's the reality nobody wants to admit. Talking about your plans creates an illusion of progress, while actually slowing you down. The moment you share a long-term plan, you open the door to other people's expectations, opinions, doubts, judgments, and projections. Suddenly, everyone has something to say about your life. Some people will cheer you on because they like the sound of the dream. Some will doubt you because they can't imagine doing it themselves. Some will subtly discourage you without even realizing it. And a few will smile on the outside while secretly hoping you fail. And here's the worst part. Once you tell people your plans, your brain thinks you've already achieved something. You get a tiny hit of validation, a small rush of pride, just enough to make you feel like you've done part of the work, even though you haven't moved an inch. That tiny burst of validation kills your momentum. It makes you comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of execution. Your plans don't need opinions. They need work. They need consistency. They need hunger. And hunger only survives in silence. When you keep your long-term goals private, 3 powerful things happen. You don't feel pressured to perform for anyone. You stay focused because there's no outside noise. You build without interference from negativity, jealousy, or unnecessary advice. People can't ruin what they don't know exists. They can't sabotage a plan they've never heard. They can't doubt something they never got the chance to question. Your dreams deserve that protection. Your future deserves that privacy. Build quietly, move quietly. Let your success walk into the room before you ever announce it. And as intense as that sounds, the next thing you should never share is even more personal and even more dangerous to your peace. The second thing you must never share is your private life problems. We live in a time where people treat their personal issues like public announcements. Every argument, every setback, every emotional bruise gets broadcasted to someone, sometimes to everyone. But here's the truth most people learn the hard way. The moment you start sharing your private problems, you're handing people a blueprint of your weaknesses. You're giving them information they can use to judge you, pity you, gossip about you, or even manipulate you. And it happens more often than you think. Some people really do listen to help. They'll give advice. They'll support you. They'll keep it confidential. But you have to understand something. For every one person who genuinely cares, there are 3 others who are quietly collecting information. They don't react immediately. They don't show their intentions. They just store details, little details. And one day, during a disagreement, an argument, or a moment of jealousy, those harmless details become ammunition. Here's the part that stings. People don't always use your problems against you intentionally. Sometimes they use them accidentally, by repeating what you said to someone else, by joking about it, or by reminding you of it in moments you're trying to heal. And oversharing doesn't just expose you to others. It damages you internally. Every time you talk about a problem too early, you reopen the wound. Every time you retell the story, you relive it. And instead of moving forward, you stay stuck in the same emotional loop. Your private life needs boundaries. Your inner world needs protection. Not everything happening inside you deserves outside commentary. And there's another layer to this. Sharing your problems with the wrong person can trap you in a cycle where they see you only through your struggles, never through your growth. To them, you become the person who's always dealing with something, even if you've moved past it. Sometimes the worst prison is someone else's outdated image of you, so keep your wounds close. Heal in silence. Talk to people who have earned the right to hear your struggles, not to those who are just curious. Because as personal as this is, the next thing you should never share cuts even deeper into your privacy. And once people get hold of it, they'll treat you very differently. The third thing you must never share is your financial details. People say money changes you, but the truth is, money changes how other people behave around you. The moment someone learns how much you make, how much you owe, or how much you've saved, they start seeing you differently, whether they mean to or not. Tell someone you're earning well, and suddenly you're lucky, you're privileged, or you shouldn't complain. Tell someone you're struggling, and suddenly you're irresponsible, you're not doing enough, or you're a problem they get to judge. Money is emotional for people. It triggers jealousy, resentment, competition, pride, and sometimes even entitlement. And this is exactly why your financial situation should stay private. When people know you're doing well, some will expect you to pay more. Some will ask for favors they wouldn't dare ask before. Some will try to take advantage, subtly or directly. And some will start watching you, comparing themselves to you, or hoping your success slows down so they can feel comfortable again. When people think you're struggling, they label you. They talk about you. They put you in a category. And some start treating you with hidden pity or superiority. And here's another trap. Once someone knows your numbers, you lose control of the narrative. They'll interpret your lifestyle, your decisions, and even your personality through the lens of how much they think you have or don't have. You stop being you, and you become a dollar sign in their eyes. But the biggest danger? Sharing financial details creates expectations. You'll feel pressure to live up to what you said, pressure to maintain an image, pressure to justify your choices. And nothing kills freedom faster than financial expectations, especially the ones other people place on you. Your money is your business, your struggles, your wins, your progress. None of that needs public commentary. The safest financial life is a quiet one. The richest people don't talk about money, not because they're hiding, but because they understand the shift it causes in relationships. Keep your numbers private. Let people guess. Let them assume. They can be wrong. It won't change anything for you. And as sensitive as money is, the next thing you should never share hits even closer to home, because once you put it out there, you can never take it back. Ready for number 4? The fourth thing you must never share is your past mistakes. Everyone has a history. Everyone has done things they regret, things they outgrew, things they learned from. But the moment you start openly sharing your past mistakes with people who haven't earned your trust, you hand them a weapon with your fingerprints already on it. Here's the harsh truth. People don't see your mistakes the way you see them. You see mistakes as lessons, growth, experience, a version of you that no longer exists. But some people, they freeze you in that exact moment. They define you by the worst chapters of your story, even if those chapters are long closed. You could be a completely transformed person today, and they'll still pull out something you did years ago, like it just happened yesterday. Because to them, it's not about your growth. It's about the story they prefer to tell themselves about you. And once you give someone your past, you can't take it back. It sits in their mind. It shapes how they see you. It becomes part of your identity and their version of your life. You may think you're being open, honest, vulnerable, but to the wrong person, it just becomes gossip, or judgment, or a way to quietly feel superior. People will say things like, "She said she used to do this. He told me he once messed up like that. Yeah, they're better now, but you know their past." And suddenly, what you moved on from becomes the thing you're known for. But that's not the only danger. When you share your past mistakes too freely, you risk reinforcing them in your own mind. You start reliving what you've already healed from. You reopen wounds from experiences that no longer define you. You give life to stories you should have left buried. Your past is not a confession booth for strangers. It's not a discount ticket for people to enter your life. It's not something you owe to anybody. The only people who deserve to know your mistakes are the ones who have proven they won't weaponize them, people mature enough to understand growth, not judge it. Because the wrong person won't use your past to understand you. They'll use it to limit you. And as heavy as that is, the next thing on this list is even more sensitive because it doesn't just affect you, it affects how people trust you. The fifth thing you must never share is other people's secrets. This one is bigger than people realize. Because when you repeat something someone trusted you with, even if you think it's harmless, you're not just breaking their trust, you're signaling something about yourself. Here's the truth. The moment you share someone else's business, you tell the world you can't be trusted with sensitive information. You might think you're only exposing them, but people around you? They're watching, they're listening, and they're taking notes. When you reveal something that wasn't yours to reveal, people don't think, "Oh, they must be really close," or "They probably got permission." No, they think, if they share other people's secrets so easily, mine will be next. And that thought right there? That's enough to make people stop opening up to you, stop trusting you, and stop inviting you into the deeper parts of their lives. It doesn't matter if what you shared was small. It doesn't matter if you didn't mean harm. It doesn't matter if you said, "Don't tell anyone I told you." The damage is already done. People don't separate big secrets from small secrets. They only notice the pattern. You talk. And here's something most people never think about. When you betray one person's trust, you also shrink your own world. People stop confiding in you. They become cautious around you. They start keeping their distance without explaining why. Because nobody wants to be the next story told in a room they're not in. There's also the more personal side of this. Sharing someone's secret changes how you feel about yourself. You might laugh it off, or justify it, or pretend it wasn't a big deal. But deep down, there's a small sting, a small guilt that grows over time. Because you know you crossed a line, and crossing it once makes it easier to cross again. And let's be honest. People can feel when they can't trust you anymore. You don't need to tell them. They notice it in your behavior, in your stories, in the way you talk about others. Trust doesn't break loudly. It breaks quietly. So protect other people's secrets like they're your own. Not because you owe them anything, but because your integrity depends on it. Because once you lose trust, rebuilding it is almost impossible. And speaking of impossible, the next thing people share, even with the closest family members, is the one that causes the most damage to their relationships. The sixth thing you must never share is your relationship problems. This is one of the most common mistakes people make. Not out of malice, not out of immaturity, but because when you're upset, hurt, or confused, it feels natural to run to someone, family, friends, anyone who will listen. But here's the part nobody warns you about. You will move on. You will forgive. You will heal. But the people you told, they won't. When you share every argument, every mistake, every flaw your partner has, you're creating a version of them in someone else's mind that they will never let go of. You fix things inside the relationship, but outside, the damage stays. Your family won't forget the night you called crying. Your friends won't forget the story that broke your heart. And every time they see your partner afterward, they'll look at them through the lens of something that happened once, something you probably already moved past. This builds silent tension, silent judgment, silent resentment, and eventually, it creates a divide. The relationship you're trying to repair, and the people who don't understand why you're still in it. But that's not the only danger. When you talk about your relationship problems too much, you also create a habit. The habit of escaping to others instead of communicating with the person you're actually in the relationship with. Instead of solving the issue at its core, you vent, you complain, you get sympathy, you get validation, and that temporary comfort becomes addictive. But it doesn't fix anything. It just prolongs the problem. There's also the hidden risk of someone giving you advice based on their own fears, bitterness, insecurity, or personal bias, not based on what's actually best for your relationship. One wrong sentence from the wrong person can plant a seed of doubt that grows into a disaster. Your relationship should be handled like two people building something private, not a community project, not a family discussion, not a group chat topic. The only exceptions are real danger, abuse, or situations where you need support for your safety or well-being. That's different. That's necessary. But everyday arguments, misunderstandings, frustrations, those don't belong on public display. Your relationship will grow faster when fewer people have access to it. Some things are meant to be protected, not broadcasted. And speaking of protection, the next thing you should never share exposes something even more personal, something that affects your confidence, your mindset, and your entire sense of self. Ready for number 7? The 7th thing you must never share is your insecurities. Your insecurities are the most personal, most fragile parts of you. They're the things you think about when the room is quiet, the thoughts that hit you at night, the doubts you don't always say out loud, but feel deeply. And because insecurities are so powerful, you have to be extremely careful with who you let near them. Some people are gentle. You tell them what hurts, and they handle it with care. They protect it. They help you heal. They don't weaponize it. But not everybody is like that. When the wrong person learns what you're insecure about, they suddenly hold a kind of psychological power over you, even if they don't intend to. Your insecurities become a quiet target, a soft spot, a pressure point they can accidentally, or intentionally, hit. A comment here, a joke there, a comparison at the wrong moment, a look that lingers a little too long. And just like that, you're reminded of the very thing you trusted them with. Some people won't hurt you on purpose, but they also won't understand the weight of what you told them. They'll brush your sensitivity off. They'll tell you you're overreacting. They'll minimize what's actually hurting you. And being misunderstood can sometimes sting more than the insecurity itself. There's also the darker side. Some people will weaponize what you tell them. They'll use it against you in arguments, bring it up in moments of frustration, throw it in your face when they need to feel powerful. Not because they hate you, but because people often strike where they know it hurts most. And once your insecurity becomes a point of attack, even once, you'll never forget it. Another danger? When you talk about an insecurity too much, you reinforce it in your own mind. You give it more attention, more energy, more space in your identity. You turn a thought into a label into a belief, and a belief into a limitation. Your insecurities are not meant for the public. They're meant for your own growth. They deserve privacy, patience, and careful handling. You can work on them, you can heal them, you can outgrow them, but you don't need the world, or even family, to know where you feel weak. Protect your insecurities, not because you're hiding them, but because they deserve a safe environment to heal. And once you start guarding these 7 things, your plans, your problems, your finances, your past, other people's secrets, your relationship issues, and your insecurities, your life becomes quieter, cleaner, stronger, and far more peaceful. Now, before you think this is all about hiding everything and shutting people out, let's get one thing straight. Not everything belongs in silence. There are things you should share, and doing it the right way actually strengthens your relationships, your growth, and your life. 1. Your wins and progress. Share your wins, but selectively. Not to brag, not to compete. Share them to celebrate yourself and inspire the people who matter. Wins are motivating, and when you share them with the right people, it creates support, excitement, and energy without giving away your vulnerabilities. 2. Your lessons learned. People love stories about growth. You don't have to reveal the painful details, just the lesson. How I messed up, and here's how I fixed it. This turns your past mistakes into something useful, not weaponized against you. It's empowering for you and inspiring for others. 3. Requests for help, judiciously. You don't have to do everything alone, but you do need to be careful about who you ask. Share struggles or ask for advice only with people who have proven wisdom, trustworthiness, and good intentions. The right help can save time, energy, and heartbreak. The wrong help can create chaos. 4. Gratitude and appreciation. This is simple, but incredibly powerful. Acknowledging others, thanking people for their support, or highlighting teamwork doesn't weaken you. It strengthens relationships. Share positivity, not vulnerability, and you'll build bridges without exposing weak spots. 5. Your aspirations strategically. It's okay to share some goals, just not the ones that are sensitive or long-term and vulnerable to judgment. Short-term aspirations, shared with trusted people, create accountability and motivation without opening yourself to sabotage. The key is intentional sharing. Ask yourself, will this bring me support, clarity, or growth? Or, will this create judgment, distraction, or energy loss? If it's the first, share it. If it's the second, keep it to yourself. Because life isn't about total secrecy. It's about protecting what matters and sharing what builds you up. The difference between success and struggle, between thriving and constantly being drained, isn't luck. It's knowing what to guard and what to give. It's about intentional sharing, not oversharing. If you take anything from today, take this. Protect what matters, share what builds you,